does fasting push God to act in a certain way? Why is it that whenever you want to do something great, you want to start, for example, varsity or anything of the sort, or start a business, you always hear pastor say, before starting, enter a 3 days of fasting. You're sick, fast for 5 days. Do this. Why? Why can't I just pray and it gets over? Because whether I fast or not, God is going to listen to my voice and is going to hear me. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about today. Practically speaking, in a country, how do we know that a country is rich and wealthy? We do not know that a country is rich and wealthy if the president actually has money, because the president will always have money. The members of the parliament will always have money. But how do we know that a country is rich? It's when we enter the country and we see that most of the people in the country are rich and they're less poor people. Then we know that the country is rich, and even the president will feel prideful. He'll be like, okay, I did something there, my people are rich. Exactly. So it's kind of the same thing with God. All right. But one thing is for certain is that a president will never give a job to a person who gets drunk or does not have skills or anything of the sort. We always give jobs to the people who have skills to maintain it, for the people who are sober, because what will a drunk person cook for us? How will a drunk person operate, do a surgical operation or anything of the sort? So they need to be sober, they need to be activated and everything of the sort. So it's the same thing with God. It's kind of the same thing with God. When you fast, you tell God, it's like you are having a skill with you, number one. You are having a skill with you and you're telling God, okay, you know what? I'm really desperate for it. I'm ready to go 3 days. And for those 3 days, I want to see your face. It's kind of you showing him that I have a skill and I need you to act based off on it. It's kind of the same thing. So I wanted to make it practical so that we all understand. That is the first one. It's because God is going to bless you, number one, because He's kind of forced to. Because if you are poor, but the Bible tells us that His children are the richest, that all the money, all the wealth belongs to God. So if all the money and the wealth belongs to God, how is it that it doesn't come to you? If the health belongs to God, how is it that it does not come to you? That is the first one. The second one, fasting and prayer actually moves everything. It shows God that you're telling God, God, I'm abstaining from social media for 5 whole days. But you know how much I'm addicted to social media. I cannot wake up without touching my phone. I cannot do this without actually scrolling on Facebook. But today I'm telling myself that I'll put that away for you because I want to seek you. That is number one. Number two, you're telling yourself, God, I want to remove this food for you. I'm removing the food. I'm going to sleep down. I love my bed, but I'm going to be sleeping on the carpet each and every single day for you because I want to see your face. It kind of shows God how serious you are about this thing, that you really need it, that you are desperate, that if it does not do, then nothing else shall happen, that if it does not do, nothing else will happen. So remember how I told you guys that a king, that a country, that we know a country is rich only when the president is we know that a country is rich when all the people in the country are rich. Okay, so what happens is, most of the time when we go and visit the king, you go in the king's house. If you've ever been, okay, now we don't have kings, but even if you go to the president's house and they invite you, usually they don't invite you because we know how heartless people are. If we invite you there, you're going to, number one, take pictures. After take pictures, you actually poison the king and all of those things. So they will never invite you there for safety reasons. Otherwise, if it was still like those time of the Bible with King David and Solomon, when there were Solomon people, and when they called you, what do? They brought gifts. The same thing with Christ. When Jesus Christ was born, the three people followed the star, the three noblemen followed the star and brought gifts to the house of the king. It's the same thing. They did not go empty handed, they brought something to the king. And the king is okay, Jesus Christ was a young person, but right now speaking, whenever you go to the king's house, usually they would give you back something else to go back with. The king is kind of obliged to give you because you've taken something from yourself. You've deprived yourself from something, maybe from food, maybe from a certain thing, in order for you to give it to them. Right, in order for you to give it to him, and him in return will also give something back to you. That is why when you go to people's house, they would usually also give you food because they feel obliged to do that out of politeness, out of being polite. Right. But number one is we are going, before even everything, after everything I've said, what I was supposed to start with is what is fasting. Because most of us actually just fast, just randomly. There are different types of fast. But one thing you must make sure is fasting is not only depriving yourself from food. There's a lot of things you can deprive yourself from. But usually it has to be something that is precious to you, something that you treasure the most. It can be, for example, your phone, especially in this generation. Let not lie. People cannot even survive 5 whole days without a phone. It can be a phone, it can be sleeping on the bed or anything of the sort. But it must be something that is really precious to you. This is the effects or the impact of fasting. It shows God how much you love Him, that you're ready to put everything away from Him, everything away just for Him. So today I only spoke of the impact, but I'm going to talk about how to fast later on in my coming videos. So if you want to learn more about it, you can stay tuned for it. You can subscribe or just come and check my channel later on, because I know what the use of me telling you the impacts of fasting, the results of fasting, if you just don't even know how to do it. So